Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Running in Circles podcast. This should be the ninth episode of the season, and joining me in today's episode is two people who have met recently in this part of the world. Joining for the second time this season, we have Kaustubh.
Hey everyone, it's nice to be back.
Hi, Kaustubh. And joining for the first time this season, we have Surbhi.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Surbhi, to the show. And so basically in today's episode we're going to talk about how life is usually a roller coaster, and how everyone has their fair shares of ups and downs. So we're basically going to talk about our stories around ups and downs and how we usually manage to get back up. So to start the episode, I'd like to ask you guys a question, or like, why don't you tell your stories behind, what are some of the amazing moments in your life, and how did that feel? We'll start with your Kaustubh.
Um, so some of the amazing moments that in my life were one. Um, so after graduating from undergrad, I was working at a startup. The environment that I had over there was amazing, and I learned a lot of things. But what happened after that was I got an offer at Siemens,
Yeah.
right? So that was pretty amazing for me because coming from a college that is considered a tier 3 college in the state, and going to a level where they have interns from IITs, NITs, and these kind of, yeah, it felt like a big moment for me. That was one. And the other one was kind of like coming to US to do my master's. Yeah, that was something that was in my mind for a long time, and kind of achieving that part, like starting that journey, had its own kind of contentment. So yeah, these were like few of the most moments, like few of the moments that were like the ups in my life.
Yeah, that was well said. To talk about some amazing moments in my life, I would say that every time I conquer a goal, I set myself so many goals sometimes that, and again, it could be very simple goals like, chalo, I have, I'm not good at writing. So, you know what, let's just get better at writing. So, I started my own Medium page. So that, I know it's not much, but again, starting a Medium page and, fulfilling your goal of, getting better at writing, that was good. I was low on confidence for, majority of my life. And, now developing the confidence that I have, and basically through all the people that I've met, through the various ventures that I've taken, uh, conquering that confidence thing was again a very good thing. uh, I used to struggle a lot with just in general talking with people, because I didn't really know how to express myself, and this isn't just in like a social setting. This goes way beyond, like, even with family. Sometimes I or at least like sister used to be better at talking with family than I was. So with family, I've realized that I'm better. I'm getting better at talking to them, of expressing myself. So these, I mean, for sure, like, as Kaustubh said, career goals makes you confident. I mean, career goals and academic goals are a majority part of your life, and those things, I would say that those, like, again, to add on to what you said, for me, like, in my life, JP Morgan has been a massive part of it. Getting that first offer felt surreal. Working for them, just experiencing that big company setup felt good, though that was again a goal that I wanted. So again, though, every time I conquer a goal, that makes me feel good. And achieving that, the process of achieving that, everything has been good related to that. Yeah. So, Surbhi, what are your thoughts on this?
So, guys, I guess I relate to you a lot in all these aspects, but somewhere I would say, like, I've had many amazing moments in my life. Now that I relate to you guys, I remember one of the moment. Although I'm from a very small city,
Hmm.
I conquered many things in my life. Like going to a really good university in Mumbai was the first thing that I conquered as a 16-year-old, probably.
Yeah.
So it was a huge thing for me. Like going to Xavier's is a
Yeah.
dream for people. and I just got it, like I was in the merit list or something, but I conquered it because I wouldn't think that I would do that, because coming from a small city, people have so many norms around, like you have so much of fear, like what would people think about you and everything. So
also like Nagpur and Mumbai vastly different,
it
right?
is not Nagpur, it is Gondia.
Okay, now
Many people know about that. So many of the people who are from Maharashtra don't even know that the city exists. I'm from a very small city, so that that was like one of the moment when I got in, and I got in a merit list. That was a huge thing for me and my family. And there are many other things, but now that I think of, coming to ASU was like coming to US was my dream, and I made it happen. So all that I can say is that.
Yeah, I mean, again, now that you said Gondia, I mean, I all like, even though you've told me you're from Gondia, I always remember it as like this neighbor town to Nagpur. So yeah, I mean, of course, it was a massive thing for you to go all the way from Gondia to Mumbai, and study in Saint Gabriel's, which is like such a popular journey, especially from, I can imagine it must have been massive. So okay.
Speaking about the journey, right? Like speaking about the journey, I think uh, what many people like feel satisfied is just like, let's say, reaching a goal, right? But what I have come in terms is like I try to enjoy the whole journey. So the whole journey is usually filled with ups and downs and a lot of highs and lows. You might be happy a day, you might be sad, you might be angry. So you experience like a different kind of emotions throughout that whole journey. So I think that whole experience is like when you uh, try to understand that whole experience and try to have fun in that whole experience. I think that is what makes a journey really beautiful. So I think like starting on that note, right, like for me, I like as I said, the undergrad college that I went to is considered like a tier 3 university. So that felt like a big setback for me because I didn't know, like I had done decently, like I had done pretty well in my PU, like the PUC exam. So in Karnataka where I studied, it's called PUC, but throughout India it's called 12th. Right. So I did pretty well there, but there is this entrance exam called CET that you usually take.
Common entrance.
Common entrance test. So there was since like our PU paper was kind of easy, the whole CET exam was like really hard for that whole batch, right? So
I can relate this to one of the exams that I gave, that was NEET. I gave twice. I gave twice, and I was short by like 10 marks.
Must have.
It was so freaking hectic. For like, I can't even imagine how to do that. Like, it was so tough.
Uh, Absolutely. I think we're, sort of already moving on towards, the second part of the discussion, which is, what are the times you've struggled with, and, what did that feel like?
yeah, so as I was saying, like the whole experience with CET didn't go that great, and I was kind of really sad, I guess, because like I saw this one very weird thing. I'm not sure if it's like if others find it weird or not. So we had like I had gotten like around 92% in physics, chemistry, and math totally.
In common.
No, this is in the board exams. So what happened was in the the common entrance, like the CET exam, I think I scored 3 marks less than one of my friend who, like, he got I think 112 and I think I got 109 or something in that range. But there was the clear thing that I remember is the three mark difference, and the rank difference was 1,800 rank difference because of those 3 points. Right. So that felt like such a big blow to your, especially to my confidence, and how much difference a 3 mark was creating an impact on my career. And that led me to choose a different college from him altogether. Right. And since I wanted like the domain that I wanted to do was electronics and computer science, but in Karnataka there is no university offering electronics and computer science.
Computer engineering types.
Yeah. So it is either electronics and communication or computer science. So all of this happened, and I think it was like a very depressing moment during that time to go through all of that. And yeah, I think from there, I think a lot of ups started trying to come over it. But yeah, like, what are your experiences on these kind of flows?
So, like, I would talk about it a lot because we have literally like very similar stories, like giving exams and everything. So, this is the moment of my life where, like, it became so strong that when I lost my father, it became so strong for me to like be independent, be so successful. Like that was my goal. That became my goal. Like I have to take care of my family because I was, even though I was 13 years old, I had that like I want to do something for my family because there is no one. I don't know. I just took the responsibility so hard. Like my father had heart attacks when before he died. So I've always wanted to become a doctor, and that was my dream to become. Yeah, that was my dream goal to become a cardiosurgeon. It crushed. Like I gave twice and I couldn't do it. It dropped all of it, like my confidence, my everything. It was the hardest time, and moreover, it was the most depressing. Like it was depression, and the most terrifying part about this is that you always need support when you fail. You always need support, and I didn't get it from my mother. Like she couldn't. Probably she just wanted us to excel so much that she didn't understand that where we are coming from. Like I was just 13, and I mean I understand her problems, her struggles, but I needed that support and I didn't get it. So I had to drop everything, like my dream, my everything. And then I went to Xavier's. That was like, okay. I wasn't happy because I got it. I mean, I was a scholar, so I knew I would get it. But still, that was not my dream. So I just needed that support. And I feel like support is really important. And since then, I never really, you know, thought about my life that I should be achieving this or that. I started focusing on my little things. And that is what I actually continue doing it.
Okay.
What do you think about your struggles, Pallav?
Again, I absolutely relate with both of you in terms of like that phase itself, like when you're deciding college, it's such a massive thing. So like I have a similar story, but probably I mean little different. I'm little different. So having y- dedicated 4 years of my life to these IIT coaching tuitions. I've all yeah, there is a smile on the faces I see. So having dedicated 4 years of my life to achieving that IIT dream, that was something that I've wanted for a long time. And again, those 4 years of my life, I was literally just going to classes, then again going to Fiji on a weekday basis, and then attending those classes, giving those tests, like imagine giving school tests and then coming like 2 hours later, changing, uh, traveling, and then again giving a 3-hour test for Fiji. So that was my schedule in those 3 years. But then ultimately what had happened was, I like again I cleared mains. I was eligible for JEE advanced. So I remember that I felt like my advanced went pretty well. But when the scores came out, I just realized that had I got 10, again as you said, 3 marks make a massive difference, right? So in advanced, 10 marks, like the upper quartile, if you could say upper quartile, is that is massive gap in upper quartile. So 3 questions or like 2 questions, had I answered or like had I got it correct, it makes a massive difference. And basically I realized that had I got 10 more marks, I would have got my dream of, getting into, one of those top 7 IITs and things. And again, the reason why I call this as a struggle is because, ultimately I did get into a good college, which is, BITS Pilani. But the reason why I struggled is, that moment was pretty tough on me. Like so far, I mean, until that moment in my life, I could do whatever I want. I knew that if I set my eyes on something, I can get it. But you could say that, that was like a major, failure in my life. Not getting into IG, that felt like a major failure to my life. And again, I was struggling how to deal with that, basically, because that moment really broke me down. And I always, like, again, if you look at it in absolute terms, BITS Pilani is a great college to get into. But again, the reason, again, I didn't mention, if you notice how the conversation went, I didn't mention it into one of the amazing moments in my life, because again, it never really felt like an amazing moment in my life. It always felt like, oh, you know what, you didn't get.
It's a second tier option. Basically, you felt like it's a second tier option.
Again, it's not a second tier option. It's still like, tier 1.5 or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like absolutely. But at that point in time, when your dreams are so high and then you don't hit that goal, like basically it feels like you're shooting at the stars and you land on the moon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wish I could look at it that way back then. But the thing is, I didn't really look at it that way. It really brought me down. I was pretty, sad at that time. But, like over the period of time, I've, come to terms with, that is just like, you just need to change your perspective. Like, of course, those 4 years taught you. I mean, 4 years eventually helped me get into BITS Pilani for sure.
Yeah, but I would say that, you know, even the age matters, even the understanding at that age matters, because even I had gone through the same thing with, like you two have. I believe that the acceptance that we wanted, we never got from that stage. And we were not ready to accept the fact that we couldn't get in. Like, we've worked so hard and we just couldn't get in. I couldn't accept that. But I learned from many philosophers. Like, I read a lot of books. So I learned that whatever hard work you do, somewhere or the other, it will be back to you. Yeah, it pays off. It'll come back to you in some another form. So don't reach out, or like, don't look out for your results. Just work on the progress, like the process that you want to progress for.
Yeah, you're quoting Mahabharata, as you said. There
Oh,
is
dude, I don't know about that, but okay.
so in Mahabharata, Krishna tells Arjun that,
I don't know, but okay.
like, I think Kauravas killed Arjun's son or something.
Yeah. So like basically this is what I think it is, right? So during, even before the whole war started, Arjuna was like, all of those people that are standing on the other side are my relatives and my brothers and my elders. How can I basically fight against them, right? And then Krishna says, like, this is the journey that you have taken and this is what you have to do. Whatever follows after that is just the karma that you get out of it. That's all. Right? So I think,
Yeah. So again, not sure of the exact details, but Krishna says something to Arjuna, which says that karm karte ja, fal ki chinta mat karo. Fal meaning fruits.
Yeah, okay. I know that.
So basically, it basically says that, just focus on actions. The
Yeah,
outcome will come later eventually.
so I think along the same lines, right? So for speaking about the whole journey, and I didn't like hearing the whole scenarios of career where everyone, whatever career path they pick, like let's say electronics or computer science or civil or mechanical, they end up going towards IT, right? So for me at that point in time, like while I was picking college, didn't realize the impact that it would have had if I had gone through a Comet K admission rather than through a CET admission. So like throughout my first year, though I worked a lot on a lot of things, like I started learning new things, new technologies. On the back of my mind, I always wanted to try to get into a better colleges. So I went to those colleges, spoke to the management if I can move to those like college and all of that. Yeah, I couldn't accept the fact that so like because of that, for 1 year, I couldn't accept the fact that I had got it into that college, and I was not ready to speak to a lot of people, get close to them as well, because I felt like if I build a lot of connections here, I won't be able to get rid of those attachments later on, right? So all of this happened, but I think one of the like greatest moments that happened over here for me was like I met this met a person, like basically he was my senior in PU. His name is Vidyadhar. So he had gotten into a college, again from my perspective, like from the public's perspective, even he had gotten into a college called Dayanand Sagar, right? So even that is not considered one of the best colleges in the state, but the approach that he had taken, um, like in his process of thinking, in his whole life, trying to build some new things, I think that kind of inspired me, and that got me hooked into what he was doing, because I felt like even he was in a similar situation, though he might not have expressed it like that. I think I could relate to his story, and I was inspired by the kind of goals he was reaching, achieve, like the amount of things. So basically, he had started a startup called Science Panorama, which was a magazine, and it was doing really well. And he had done that in, like, I think in his in 12th grade, I guess. And this led me a lot, like gave me a lot of inspiration. And yeah, I think that is from there, after looking at him, it felt better. And yeah.
It's like the saying that people say that it's not important it's not important which university you're going to, either it's first ranking or third ranking. Whoever wants to study, they study from whichever college they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that brings us to what should be the last part of the episode. In basically, in the times that you're down, how do you manage to like get back up? It's this classic saying called "गिरेगा नहीं तो उठेगा कैसे." So, what how do you manage to get back up?
Um, so for me, it is more of there are multiple things that I do. So one is I try to reflect on things, why something went wrong. Try to take the whole thought process, and then try to basically note down what was I doing, what went wrong, how could I basically shifted my track to go towards a different direction, right? Like towards the like growth direction. Uh, that is one thing that I do, and I talk to a lot of people. Like as I mentioned, I after I got connected with Vidyadhar even more closer than I was earlier, we started speaking a lot, and s- I kind of understood the power of speaking to someone else, what kind of power that it has, right? And uh, after this, like I try to do some things, like I like cooking, so that takes my mind off all of the things that are happening and try to just focus on cooking. So I try to do all of these things and somehow get back on track. It takes time, but helps me to fall back on the path again. What about you guys?
With me, I introspect a lot about whatever I do. Like, I wouldn't say that, I mean, if you fall and then what are the outcomes, like what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do, what is the next? I focus on the steps that I will be taking for the next time that it shouldn't happen. So for me, I take my life very seriously. And about me, like what the ways that I choose for like getting up from the fallback that I ever have, I go for a run, I write. The thoughts that I get when I walk or run, it's the best things that I ever can imagine I could get. Like it's so positive. Like it changed the perspective of whatever you're going through. Like even if it's the negative part, it tries to show you that you can get somewhere, like you can achieve many things out of that. Like you don't have to think that okay, you didn't achieve that, so oh, I failed. No, you have to look at it in a different perspective and try to understand that it's okay. It's okay to fail. It That's how you learn, I guess.
Yeah. The thing that you said about it's okay to fail, that concept is very hard for me to understand. Like personally, I've struggled with that so much because I've always been the kind of guy who has hated failing. I've never, for me, like I'm someone who struggles to like deal with failure. Like that concept was non-existent sometimes to me. Okay, because like I feel that I can do anything that I want. But again, as you grow up, you face adversity, and adversity in a way helps you grow. So I would say that you know like sometimes if I see someone who can do something different than me, so like I have massive respect for them because like they have a skill which I don't. So it gives me this urge to like develop that skill. Like I want to like learn that skill because it's not out of like spite or something. It is just fascination, I would say. Fascinate Curiosity to learn that skill, that oh, you can performance, you can do stage, then I want to develop that skill. Like, I want to develop that confidence to go on stage and do it. And like let's say somebody is a content creator also, or somebody plays a guitar, for example. It gives me the urge to learn a musical instrument because again, it's I just that skill is just fascination it's fascinating, and I want to learn that skill. So basically, how in the times you're done, how do you manage to get back up is, again, I am pretty bad at when I fall, I feel pretty bad because that those things have happened. But again, like when you're learning a cycle, for example, your parent would just leave you sometimes, and then you I mean, when your parents are helping you learn a cycle, they'll be like, ha, I've held the cycle, you keep cycling. But then once you realize that they're not holding anymore, you fall anyways.
I can never relate to this story to anyone in this entire world because no, I know, but I learned it by myself. I never fall, and like I never
Never
fell.
fell.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
never fell. I was so scared of like falling that I used to be so cautious. Like the moment I literally learned how to balance, only then I did it. So I can never relate that.
Yeah. But again, I mean, this is just like a classic example that most kids go through. Most kids, this is like how most kids learn how to cycle, right? So basically it's just basically, look, if you look at just that example is perfect. You fall, then you basically you learn how not to fall next time. In the cycle example, you learn how not to fall, and that is growth. So it's just simple perspective, which I'm trying to develop. Again, I'm little bad at falling right now. I mean, I'm falling, but little bad at handling how to fall. So I'm learning that skill, and that's been good. So basically, overall, this whole episode can be summed up by one line that Captain America says in every movie that he's in, which is, "I can do this all day." So basically, there will be many challenges that you will that you will face in life. Right now it's for us, the three of us. Right now it's internships and jobs. After that there'll be financial struggles, and later on they'll come with different challenges as we speak. So again, absolutely, financial struggles is already there. But in terms of different financial struggles, like you want to own a house, you want to own a car, and some people will be earning more than you, so that will get into your head. So basically those things. So do you guys have anything else to add in this episode, or shall we wrap it up?
Like, just to add one more thing, I think another important aspect that everyone has to kind of, I feel is very important in everyone's life is empathy.
Yeah,
Right? So having empathy for others, because like let's say someone doesn't return your call, it doesn't give you the right to get angry over them, right? Because they might be going through some things which they might not have told you,
Or
right?
they're just busy.
Yeah, they're just busy with something.
Which is most of the time.
Yeah. I think like having building empathy for others and for yourself is crucial, is what I feel. Yeah, I think I'll end at that.
Yeah, I think that both of you, summed it up very well. And we will just end this with, saying, I can do this all day for the rest of our lives. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Bye.